all over come to decide. You are representatives of what could be a new nation. We must decide, will we stay loyal to our mother country and our king? Or will we embark on a new path?
Woo!
Separation and a new government of our own. First, I would like to hear from the loyalists. Loyalists, do you have anyone that is representing you today?
From Indians to your great king, who is present at this meeting today. His grandfather created this land you now call home. Since 100 years ago, this family of kings has helped the colonies thrive and grow. We believe that the colonies should remain under British rule in order to continue to do so. Contrary to popular beliefs, we are not just the Parliament. No. We are commoners, merchants, Indians. We are just like you. We want peace between our children and our countries. In a last resort, we are willing to fight for our cause. We do not wish to do so. War is our last resort. But if it comes to war, rest assured that all of our very large and powerful army will join in the fight. Not only do we have British soldiers, but also 1,500 strong Iroquois Indians prepared to die for our country. In reality, all we loyalists want for the country is a wealthy, peaceful future. Thank you.
Let me tell you a little bit about myself. I'm a Mohawk Indian. I'm the leader of many Iroquois nations. I was born a Christian in Ohio in 1742 and was taught English in Connecticut. I am loyal to Britain and King George III. I am married to Molly Brant, who is also Mohawk Indian. And in 1763, I joined the Church of England. Now let me tell you how I feel about the colonists rebelling. Personally, I think the colonists have absolutely no business rebelling against British rule. England has provided the resources and funding for the colonists from the very beginning. But the colonists don't think that's enough. They want more. They want less taxes and more freedom, but are they ever going to pay England back? So far, they have taken no action in doing so. Take the Boston Tea Party, for example. The English applied a small tax on tea, but the colonists dumped a whole boat full of tea into the Boston Harbor. The British tried to help by setting up troops around the colonies to help protect them, but the colonies denied the help. The British continually try to help the colonists more, but are always denied. After all the help the British offer, the colonists still want to separate from Britain. If all this comes through war, I'll be ready to fight. I am willing to lead 4 of our 6 Iroquois nations in a battle. My nations are strong and skillful, but can also be very deadly. We will fight and we will win. King George III has promised my nations and I all land in Canada when we resolve this ongoing problem. Make the right choice and join the Loyalists, or there will be a war.
I am Lord Frederick North. I was born and raised in England. As a member of the British Parliament and the King's right-hand man, I represent all the Loyalists stand for. Do you think when Columbus discovered this land in the name of Europe, this is what he had in mind for the future of this bountiful country? Fighting, bloodshed, and mutiny? No, the colonies are nothing more than an extension of England. The so-called patriots complain of taxes and beg for a new ruler. So let's say they rebel, and by some miracle they do gain independence from Britain. Now what? They elect
families torn apart. Patriots claim to be fighting cruelty and injustice of the British Crown, and yet they would send their children, boys, fresh out of college to war. Not to war, to their deaths. Where, I ask you, is the freedom and kindness, the justice and kindness in that? There must be no more British blood spilled. The Patriots say the colonies are not conjoined to Britain, and so we're not part of it. And yes, an ocean may divide us, but in my belief, faith and loyalty can fill any distance. I refuse to believe that war is our only option. But if it does come to war, I myself would die for this cause, for the bright future of our children and our colonies. To prevent any future fighting among our good people, I have decided to write and pass the Intolerable Acts. These acts will shut down the Boston Harbor, close down the civilian courts, and put Massachusetts firmly in British control. I am also pushing for Boston citizens to house British soldiers in their homes. Now, I know some may see these measures as extreme, but I see them as saving lives, and when it comes to that, there is no distance I will not cross. It saddens me. These colonies kicked off to such a beautiful start, seeming like such a successful venture for Britain, and now they are attempting to bite the hand that once fed them. To go up against the British Army would be their destruction. Thousands of fully armed, rigorously trained soldiers against a handful of rebels armed with farmers' tools and a few shotguns. They would be completely decimated. We, my good people, are teetering on the edge of a war, and without cooperation and submission, we may plummet off the edge. I thank you for hearing my piece. I now beg the patriots in the room, save your colonies and yourselves. Rethink your options.
I'm honored to be here, standing in front of such important people, such as the King and the Patriots. I'm here as a moderate, and I'll forever be one. I am Peter Bethese, and I'm a slave in Boston. I'm loyal to the King, but I don't agree with British taxing America, such as the tea and stamp act. Those are intolerable. I would just like to go back to my homeland in Africa, where I was taken from as a young child and forced to work here in the colonies as a slave. Me, and other slaves like me, ask you for relief, which as men, we have a right to do. I would just like to try and earn money to go back to my home country and family, who I miss very much. I think that the Patriots have the right to rebel, but it's technically British land that they live on. They may live on it and work it and farm on it and do whatever they want with it, but it's British land. However, the British have no right to tax them more than they do themselves. Both arguments are compelling, but I am moderate, and I'll forever be one. I would like to gain my freedom by peaceful and lawful ways. I do not want fighting. I do not want the war, and I think most of us in this room can relate to that.
1737 in England. I'm a writer and a patriot. My pamphlet, Common Sense, was recently published. Common Sense is about being a patriot. I was once a loyalist and tax collector, but the way of taking money from people who were too poor to give it up bore down on me, and I became a patriot. Now, I fight to take away those taxes that are too much for those people. The British are invading our land, taking our money. How can you even live with it? We need to fight back and show them that we won't stand for this. Rebelling is the only way that we can make them see. If there was a peaceful way, I would take it, but they're beyond reason. We have tried too hard, and they see nothing. The debt of helping us build these colonies that we owe has been repaid over and over, but still they ask for more. They have opened fire on us, killed our men.
I wasn't always a patriot until my cousin Samuel Adams, who you just heard from, tried to convince me to become one. I still was not convinced. After the Boston Massacre, I knew that British rule had to end. I knew we had to separate from the tyranny of King George III. I believe laws should be fair and everyone should be taxed. I believe when people are in trial, they should always have a defender behind them. After the Boston Massacre, I was a defender of the captain of the troops that were at the massacre. I ended up saving his life.